ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Indeed, all praise and glory belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him, we seek His aid and His forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evils inside of us and from our evil actions. Whomsoever Allah guides, none can lead astray, and whomsoever Allah leads astray, none can guide. I testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is one and He has no partners. And I testify that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His servant and final messenger to the whole of mankind. My respected brothers and sisters in Islam, in the first khutbah, I want to talk about our identity as Muslims. Our identity is formed by our upbringing, by our experiences in life, by what we see, by what we listen. We then internalize these and we express these on the outwards in our speech, in our behavior. So our identity is formed by a number of different things. What every Muslim is striving for, to have a strong Islamic identity. This is what every one of us needs to be striving for. What are the signs of someone who has a strong Islamic identity? He or she establishes Salah on time. Very important. Establishes their 5 Salah on time. Particularly these times when Dhuhr and Asr and Maghrib is very tight, and I've got work and you've got lectures, it's easy to pray out of time. The one with a strong identity, he or she establishes their salah at the correct time. Strong identity, recites Quran, does dhikr, this kind of thing. Strong identity looks for different types of ibadah to do. So in these days, when the day is very short, it's a prime time for us to be fasting, Mondays and Thursdays. Or if we, male or female, have maybe missed our fast in Ramadan, it's an essential time that we make up for our fasting. Signs of a strong identity. We say Assalamu alaikum, we dress in a modest manner, we say Inshallah. All of these are signs of a strong Islamic identity. One of the key factors in our identity is the environment we are in, the place that we are in. So in a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, the best place is the masajid, the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the worst places are the marketplaces. So if you go to town, the fair's on, the music's on, people are dressed in a certain manner, deen is the last thing on your mind. You're in the masjid, the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the environment is conducive to strengthen your Islam, your iman is high. You look at the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he did hijrah from Mecca to Medina, from a place of oppression, of trial, of difficulty, to a place where he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his companions could in a much freer way practice their religion. So this is why environment has a huge impact. So we're living here, many of us as British Muslims. In our environment, in this British environment, how is our identity being affected? So first of all, we have certain aspects of identity still from our parents and our grandparents. Many of us come from Muslim countries. And so some of our identity is still formed by that. So for example, you will rarely see a Muslim child of 10 or 11 or 12 say to somebody my age or their 50s or 60s, or Muhammad or Shujahat or Bilqis. They won't say that. They will say uncle or ammu or mamu or chacha. They will have respect for their elders. This comes back from many of our Islamic lands. They will, or generally we as Muslims, when we have guests, we try our hardest to be the best that we can for them. Mainly this originates from the lands of the Muslims and treating your guests in a good manner. But if really we want to understand our identity, we have to think about living in the West, living in the UK. What are the good things impacting on my identity that I can learn and take? And what are the bad things that I need to push away? It's very important. There are certain good things of living in the West, we need to absorb these. There are bad things, we need to push them away. Some of the good things, living in a British society, Western society, generally, people have good manners. People smile, people say please, people say thank you, people queue up. This is good akhlaq, this is good manners. You go to certain places, people pushing and shoving. The weakest is in the back of the queue. The strongest is in the front. This is dreadful. Generally, in British society, this doesn't happen. People are respectful and have a good level of mannerisms, and we can learn from this. People you see in these British societies as well, they know how to differ without going at each other's necks. Sometimes we have an issue and we differ in something, it has to end up in some sort of aggression or fighting. It doesn't have to be like that. Even when you dislike someone, you can still be smile and still polite at them. And the British people, they have this, they have a level of tolerance and a level of acceptance which is good. It's even in my lifetime, I can remember in the late 70s when bombs were going off in London with Northern Ireland and all these kind of things were happening, and yet they integrated the people from Ireland into a peace process, and a good strong level of peace is existing. It's a good thing to be able to accept others and not to end up with fights and battles every time. We can learn this from British values and British society. We can learn many other things as well. When we continue about learning and thinking, there is a good sense of justice. Britain is one of the few countries that's standing out. Many of the British people don't want Donald Trump to visit the UK. Many of the British people, despite it being an ally, a close country, many of the people are staying up and saying, no, we don't want that. And that's a good thing that we can learn. You also learn from British society a good sense of respect of law. When the traffic lights are red, it means stop your car. This is an important thing, respecting law and society and rules. They are there for a purpose. And generally we see this in British society, we don't see in some other societies, and we can learn from this kind of thing, and it's important we learn and absorb these many good things that are benefiting us, inshallah. But at the same time, equally, there are things that are not benefiting us, things that are harmful, and it's important that we can discuss and be open about these things and push these things away. One of these things that we live in a society that is generally irreligious. Religion isn't at the high point of society's structure. People don't commonly talk about religion. So this affects our religious values as well. Our Iman begins to suffer, our Islam begins to suffer. You're in a Muslim land, you are hearing adhan, everyone is going to the masjid, it's helpful for you, it allows your Iman to rise. When you live in a society where religion is very low down, it starts to affect our level of Islam as well, and our level of Islam begins to drop down. We live in a society where one of the most taboo subjects is death and life after death. Science has reached so many amazing things, so much research, yet no one wants to discuss life after death. The one thing that will affect each and every one of us, if you want to stop a conversation, start talking about death, everyone will walk off. No one wants to talk about death and the akhirah. This is the nature of living in these societies, whereas in Islam, over and over again, we're told, remember the next life, remember you're on a journey, remember you're traveling, remember your death, over and over and over again. So, by living in these societies, our focus on the akhirah, it diminishes greatly. So we need to push back on this and keep our focus. This life is a trivial little journey. The akhirah is really for the eternity. This is something we need to push back on. We need to push back on the fact that some of the things that we regard as sinful, society accepts. So we regard those things, we become accepting of these. So drinking alcohol, haram in Islam, allowable in Western society. Gambling, haram in Islam, accepted in this society. Boyfriend-girlfriend relationships, haram, shouldn't be there in Islam, very accepted in this society. So because of these things, interest as well, because of these things, our view on these sins, and many of these are major sins, they start to weaken. And we don't mind if someone's selling alcohol, we'll turn a blind eye. We don't mind looking at rude things. We don't mind many people having relationships because society thinks it's okay to do. Because we live in society, this starts to impact upon us, and our understanding of sins, they change, and we become much more accepting. We need to push back on these things. Things that are haram, that are wrong, we push back on and we don't accept. Our understanding of Tawheed and Shirk begins to get blurred living in these societies. And this is very important, very important. Essence of our religion is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. This is the essence, the core, the crux of our religion. Allah is one, He has no partners. My living, my dying, my life, everything is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Part of that is avoiding festivals and activities rooted in shirk. So for example, we're on the doorstep of Christmas now. We have to understand the essence of Christmas and what is being celebrated. We need to step back and just understand the crux of it. The crux of it is what? What is allegedly the birth of the Son of God. This is what this is. The birth, we say birth of Jesus, but who Christians regard as in the main as the Son of God. So this is what this festival is. This is the roots, the asl of this festival. This is a huge thing for Muslims. If Tawheed and Shirk is the crux of my deen, then something is being celebrated that is totally against it. And so the Muslims, we are told that indeed, they say the most merciful has begotten a son. You say a thing which is terrible and heinous, that almost causes the heavens to split, the heavens to be cleft asunder, the earth to split, and the mountains to crumble, that you say the most merciful has begotten a son. This is the reality. This is what Islam is very clear and unequivocal. So, living in these societies, many of us, we begin to look at this as a grey area. We begin to become more accepting of this now. This is an issue for us. We have to have certain boundaries. And I know it's difficult. I know I work as well. We have the Christmas party, just as I'm sure that you have. I'm not saying it's easy. But we need to start off from a position of knowing if something is right or it's wrong. This is important. We start off and we understand this is wrong. Then as much as we are able to, we push back on it. As much as we are able to. So I was speaking to a young man yesterday. He just started his job. He said to me, how do you find it? I've been invited to the party. I said no. I had to get an email from my manager. It's become an issue discussed. No, but alhamdulillah, he's trying his best. He's discussing. It's a worry. It's a concern. Within his limitations, whatever he can do, he's pushing back. So we need to have our boundaries. But you should know, if you're wearing a Christmas hat, and you've got a Christmas tree at home with presents for the kids, you've crossed the boundaries. You've crossed the boundaries. Particularly in Muslim relationships, there should be no aspect of Christmas. Muslim and non-Muslim, where we're working and in university, we should avoid as much as we are able to, with wisdom and hikmah and good manners. It's important. Wisdom, hikmah, good manners. We don't have to ruin everybody else's Christmas, but we need to be able to politely refrain if something is wrong. So again, the fourth point that we're discussing of things living in a British society that impact us negatively is the blurring of Tawheed and Shirk. And the final thing that I wanted to talk about briefly is the attack on the values of Islam. This is a huge thing. You look at the media today, and Islam is vilified and demonized as if every Muslim is the aggressor and wicked and cruel and all our values are wrong. And many of you youth, you're growing up and this is all you see. So you become defeatist inside. Really, you become defeatist inside. And your strength of Islam begins to drop. And the things we hold dear, so many attacks we begin to leave. So for example, mixing of males and females. In Islam, we know there should be separation and it should be limited as much as possible. We are told, no, you are backwards, this is wrong, society should be open. Okay, show us the open society where every second politician now is being accused of sexual misbehavior. Half the celebrities on TV now are being accused, you did this and that. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just the people in the public eye. Beneath there is so much of this going on, but we are the demons and we are being challenged. So many of our Islamic values and our identities, they become squeezed and squashed, and in our hearts we begin to develop a defeatist mentality, and this is wrong. How do you develop a strong identity? Stick to the Quran and Sunnah. Rasulullah ﷺ is the role model for the whole of humanity. Guard what you see, what you hear, particularly on social media. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر لي ولكم فاستغفر إنه الغفور الرحيم.